Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Caliente Tech Talk, or welcome to Caliente Tech Talk. Totally different day. We've never been here before, so this is all new.
Fresh.
I'm Service Manager Derek. Welcome, everyone. With me, as always,
Phil.
Master Tech Chris.
All right, well, Phil's been demoted, I guess.
Oh, no, I'm still the master.
Oh, okay, just making sure you still were. We're having fun. We always have fun at Tech Talk. We like talking about this stuff. We like going over all the questions and comments we give you guys. And again, we got some really good questions that rolled in that we want to discuss. You can see the guys slowly reading them in their line of sight. So we'll go ahead and start with the first one, which this one, I don't know if it might be serious. I guess this could
it's
be
a serious
real,
question.
think?
Yes, absolutely. Because there's a lot
Absolutely.
of bikes that don't get ridden.
That's true. Okay, so how often should one change their oil if they don't ride but 300 miles a year? So the less than 1,000 mile a year folks. I guess that's okay. That's a good question.
It's legit.
I will defer to these master technicians.
I
over
would
here on this
say
one.
when in doubt, 1 year.
Absolutely.
I don't want to go any more than a year. Oil breaks down over time when it sits there.
It comes from the earth. It's there forever. How
right.
is
It was the dinosaur at one point, but no, once a year I think is fair. And do all 3 holes if
if it's just sitting.
if it's just sitting. Do all the cavities that have oil in them.
I would suggest a full K service. It lets us look at all the bearings. Your adjustments shouldn't be off after only 300 miles in 1 year, but at least let us get in there, move some parts around, see how
They don't like to sit.
they don't like to sit.
Nothing likes to sit.
Worst thing you can do for vehicles, cars, or motorcycles is let them sit. So
Right.
even if you just get them out and ride them around the block, it's better than letting them sit there.
Although, I am a fan of full operating temperature, though.
Okay.
And I don't mean just the motor. I'm talking the oil. Because
I will concur.
I don't know if people that San Antonio is a little humid, and in the humid areas,
Yes.
if any of you have ever experienced the internal combustion rainstorm, where I fire my bike up in the garage every once in a while, make sure the battery's charged. I run it for 5 minutes and shut it off. I do that every day for 365 days a year. And then I went and took my bike for a real ride.
About
And
10 miles, 12?
About 10, 12 miles, and you have now accumulated, I'd say, what, a quart of
quart of
water
water.
Or more.
inside your oil tank? And guess what happens when that thing gets to 212 degrees Fahrenheit? Tea kettle time. Boom. It's all blowing out your air cleaner and spraying what feels to me, because it happened to me, like molten oil lava all
yeah.
over your
It's
legs.
nice and
Basically what it is, yes.
So yeah, if you ever hear a text say, one popped, that's usually what they're talking about. So if you're going to do I charge my bike by running it shortly every once in a while, but never actually ride the bike, be ready for the oil rain shower out your air cleaner. And when I say get it up to op temp, I don't mean just the engine.
Right.
It's the oil
And
itself.
Get out
which-
and do 20 miles on the highway.
Exactly. Get out on the highway and run it. If you're worried about your battery, get a battery tender. Something that you can just plug in and maintain it. You'll get a lot more life out of it, and it doesn't harm the bike. The other thing going along, this doesn't have to do with the oil, but if you're letting that bike sit forever, gasoline.
Yep. Varnish.
It's horrible. The gas we have out there now, it doesn't like to sit around for very long. It's rough on plastic and rubber items in the fuel tanks. And I mean, somebody be like, I just have my bike stored for 6 months, and you'll be very surprised what that does to the inside of your gas tank.
Stable helps, I think.
It
but
helps kind of, but it's still, you don't want it. You start smelling that turpentine
Yeah.
smell, it's done. And you're going to have some issues up to and including relining of the gas tank, replacing every component in there.
starts getting very pricey.
It'll plug up fuel injectors. It's a mess. So, the service riders and the techs do the same thing. You get a bike and say, I haven't ridden my bike in about a year, and the first thing we ask is, a fuel injected model? Yeah, okay, we're probably going to have to redo your whole freaking fuel system. We'll get in there and verify it, but there's a pretty good chance, unless you left it empty, which is, there's
There's
it's
good and
hard-
bad, too. It's not necessarily the best thing either.
Yeah, well, but see, I know the old school mentality was fill it. Absolutely fill it. And so maybe the air, I'm not a chemist,
The
so
coating
maybe
doesn't like to be empty either.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Hey, world. There's probably people that know more than we do about this particular one, because my bikes do more than 1,000 miles a year for the most part.
I got one that does about 1,000 miles a year.
Oh wow.
But
It's a carburetor,
But it's
though.
carburetor,
that's
so you shut off.
Oh yeah, my carb bike. Yeah, I shut the fuel off,
And let
run
it
it
run
until it
out.
stalls. That at least saves the carb. Don't do a lot for the inside of the gas tank.
No.
But the good thing about a carbureted bike is if the inside of the gas tank's ugly, You just got that little fuel filter in there that
Yep.
takes care of your problem. You
See,
clean it
most
out a little
of
bit
it.
with nuts and bolts, and you're ready to go.
I'm a little old school mentality. I believe in filling it up because the oils in the fuel will keep it. Maybe, I don't know. I know I've gone with a gas tank that hasn't been ridden for about a year and a half.
Oh, really?
When I moved, and I had it completely full. Carbureted was completely empty.
Of course.
And just took the gas out, put fresh gas in, and fired right
Rock and
up,
roll.
and
All right.
it looked fine in there.
I was gonna say I was always of the mentality that you kept it full, but before you started it up the next go around, you drained it and then filled
Well,
it.
that sounds right.
In my experience, most people aren't going to do that last step you talked about.
Right. But it's
They're
also
not
really
going to
hard.
drain it.
See, I just know
they're
if
just
I
gonna
leave
fire
if
it
I
up.
leave a gas tank completely empty somewhere on a shelf, it's fine, is it not?
Well, and I do think if you're going to try and
Because
leave it
it's-
empty, if you're trying to leave it empty, you need to take the
Open
gas
it.
cap
Let it
off.
air. Yeah,
let it air out, let it
let it
dry out.
evaporate.
See?
That might be. I think
So-
if you trap the moisture in there,
That
that's
might
when,
be what it is. Hopefully, we have said something that offended you to your core in that statement. You will respond with daggers on it because we will respond and comment to anything you say. And again, we're learning along with you. Oh, here comes the voice.
I was gonna say, do you think location of the bike matters? Because like I've had most of my bikes outside.
Well, that's just silly.
Well,
And I prefer above water. That's
Above water and a shed.
I would try and get a building.
yeah.
some of us don't have buildings, okay?
So if
Shed.
you'd like the voice's address, you know where to go find all of his bikes, we can do that as well.
It probably does have, and also even just versus states. I mean, Texas versus Phoenix is going to be dramatically
absolutely.
different on
Yeah.
what.
Well, but it does bring a good point. If you're storing your bike outside, they sell like. Have you seen the bubbles? I think did we have the bubbles?
I think we had one.
Harley
Yeah,
does.
they like snow globes for your motorcycle, but they're
They
you
got to
know,
be plugged
the-
in,
Yeah, and they keep the air
circulating.
It's a hyperbolic chamber. Is that what it is?
Kinda.
Something like that.
It's like the snow
Bubble
globes
Boy.
y'all put out
Yeah,
for
it's
the
a snow globe.
holidays.
It's like Bubble Boy.
But that even in a garage, because I don't know if it's an old wives' tale. I think there might be some truth to it. Did you ever hear the one about if you've parked it near like gas water heaters in your
Yes.
garage that can it's rough on tires,
Rough
will
on
dry
rubber,
'em out?
rubber
yeah.
in general, yeah.
So there's all these weird little things you don't think about. I know my bikes that don't move that often in my garage. I keep a cover on them mainly for
Yes.
dust and junk.
Primarily for
And then
dust.
I don't feel as bad when I set something on it and use it as a table because I don't see it in pain, but you know it holds that whatever it is fine. But having the cover on outside, the cover's a must. I'm assuming you cover your bike every time you go home. There's no chance a deer or anything is just eating the crap out of your seat.
Cats chewing on your brand
They
new
haven't
seat.
eaten it. I did have a buck gore my seat a little bit, but
Yeah.
I changed the seat.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So something about your musk. That's what it was. So, in garage is good. Sheds are great. Bubbles are probably the closest thing you can get if you have to. Although it'll look weird in your yard. Although this time of year you put a little Santa on it.
Yeah, put a little.
Make good yard decoration. So great question. We like that one because not every bike gets ridden all the time. Another comment that was made, or a question rather, was why is it important? Or what is which way am I reading that? Why is it important about the break-in service being done at a dealership versus an independent shop? Why is it important about? Is it?
What is there a difference?
Depends on the shop.
Depends on the
Depends
shop,
shop.
Yeah.
and it depends on one Harley dealership to another Harley dealership.
Yeah. But there's, I guess if you're asking about if there's like warranty ramifications, and I don't.
Not as far as I know. They sometimes will
You
want
gotta
a
prove it, right?
proof of a service.
Yeah, even if
but-
you're doing it yourself,
Yes.
you got to keep your receipts
receipt
and things
for
like
your-
that to show you did that.
The biggest thing is go to a reputable place that's going to
Yeah.
do everything Harley recommends. And if you're going to like our dealership, we're going to do everything Harley recommends and more, probably.
Yeah, well, that's yeah.
But you want somebody that's going to do everything that needs to be done in that service.
Yes,
That's
and
the biggest one.
I will say the break-in service, the 1,000 mile service, it may not seem like very many miles, but it's very important because of all the things that are done in it with the oil changes, the critical fasteners, the adjustments that get done. Not to mention if it's a brand new bike, you're under warranty. So if there is anything that's not talking well, it's having some issues, then we want to address that right then and take care of it under warranty.
And it's covered.
It's covered. That's the whole
Exactly.
idea.
The downfall to the aftermarket shop, sorry guys, is They don't have access to our digital tech programs, our updates
No.
that we do at every service
Right.
and need to be done at every service. They don't have access to all that stuff.
But that being said, I know there's some great
There's
technicians
absolutely
out there and
some
great
fine-
shops, and,
yes.
and there'll be guys. Man, I worked on a Harley for 25 years, and great. So I'm never gonna,
No.
Downgrade an independent
No,
shop
not a
because
chance.
That's
They-
amazing what
they
they're
just
doing.
Exactly.
don't have- the stuff we need is
but
very
we are
expensive.
privy to frontline information from Harley, which on some of these new bikes, a single model year change can have a drastic effect on what that bike's maintenance actually is, or what needs to be done, or what needs to be looked at. So those are the kind of things to take into consideration to make sure all the bases are covered. And yes, obviously, should you have some unexpected issue, it is much easier to get it through the Harley warranty programs if you've got a record of Harley maintenance. Not to mention, I know with Talon, I don't know, Nick, you might know this with Lightspeed. I don't know if they're connected in the same way, but Talon dealerships, we've got the service history link where we see that bike's life's history of maintenance work throughout.
I say I don't know about Lightspeed, which is I'm sure this is riveting for all the
Yeah,
people
no,
listening.
we're getting into the weeds. I'm
Uh,
sorry.
but a lot of them are pushed up to HD. So
Okay, so
you
it's
can go
possible,
online.
but
Yeah.
we can service history link and see your Harley VIN as far back to its birthday on most of them with the modern bikes. That's kind of nice too. So say you buy a pre-owned, you're not sure about it, you bought it from a different place. I don't know why you would do that. We have so many nice pre-owned bikes, but I'm saying if you did and you're just curious about, hey, what's the story on my bike? We can actually pull the VIN here.
I did it with my limited.
Yeah, exactly.
155,000 miles.
Yeah.
I can see almost every service the guy had done.
Yeah, so that's a nice thing to have, that little extra piece of information on your bike, especially if it's a new one to you, which it would be. You're the one buying it. Not everybody's buying it from a family member, and you know the history on it. So we're always happy to help with that. And if you see it was a little neglect, it can give you an idea of what your game plan is to get it back to right. Because if you're sitting on a 60,000 mile bike and it's never had steering head bearings done, ooh, man, maybe I need to get in there and do that. So.
And to go back to the first break-in service between a dealership and an independent shop is that we're constantly training. Every month we go through some type of training. We are Harley certified, so maybe that's a little different than an independent shop as well.
Yeah, it is. It's this is new month, so we got new training
We
coming
got new
out.
training coming out
Every
right
month
now.
It did
there's
it this
new
morning.
training.
Yep.
It happens all the time. So good question though. Yeah, know your tech. That's what I'd say. Know your shop, know your tech. That's the best advice I can give you on a question like that. The last one I kind of like. What would you like a new Harley owner to know about owning a Harley from a tech's perspective? So that's kind of an interesting one because you were always talking about out here, Happy Fun Land, but from a tech's perspective, what would you tell the new Harley owner?
Are they new to Harley or are they new to
let's play that. Ooh.
to motorcycles
I would
in
say
general?
new Harley owner.
Let's go with I've owned a motorcycle, but I'm new to Harley.
They're noisy.
No, they make there's no abnormal noise heard. They sound fine. But yes,
They
they
make weird noises.
are a push rod motor. Except which one? I think it's the Pan America.
Pan America?
Pan?
The Rev Max.
Pan?
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
They can be noisier than say a BMW or a Honda, and that's just
Yeah.
something people who rode Gold Wings or dirt bikes even just aren't used to.
Yeah, they're
Though I would almost say that like bikes like the Pan or the Tiger or something along those lines that you're going to have that can sometimes be even noisier and be.
Oh, absolutely.
Like we always joke
It
that
rattles.
the Tigers were our sewing machines.
Yeah.
I mean,
ride a dry clutch Ducati and tell me it's not noisy when you're sitting at the stoplight. So they sing song in different ways. That's what I will say. And there's sounds from the powertrain, and then there's abnormal noise. And those are two very different things, which these guys are trained to hear. And that's why I know you get it all the time. My bike's making a noise. There's something happening. I took it to the dealership. They didn't find anything. Sometimes, I mean, they're hearing your bike for the first time. If you've had something that's been a subtle change, which believe me, they will do over the life of their bike, as you ride them, they will start to wear in. They will do things slightly different. Some of the tensioners in them are hydraulic or automatic. Things move and change. They may create some different sounds in
sounds,
there.
absolutely.
And you picked up on that. But a technician who hasn't gone through that change with your bike doesn't hear it abnormal. Like, that's a common one.
He's
for
also
this.
been listening to motors with that many miles or more miles on
Yeah.
it, and it's like, no, that's just
And
what
there's
they do.
and there's other times I know you've had it where they pull up And hey,
turn
man,
it off. Turn it off.
Shut it off right now. What are you talking about? I need to get my state inspection. I'm like, no. Because, when we lose an inner cam bearing or something on a twin cam, that thing is screaming bloody murder. So we hear that one from a mile away.
Well, I was going to say, on our last trip, one of our guys who was riding with us decided that he wasn't going to put premium in and put regular in.
Bing, bing, bing,
and it made all sorts of weird noises, and also got about half a tank less than I did.
Yeah. These are high compression motors. We should have we should do a talk gasoline day because we don't know anything about gas, and we could just make it up and it'll sound official. But we're
absolutely
high premium octane, best you can get out of a gas pump. That's what you want in the Harley motors because they're high compression motors, not because they're high price motorcycles. Price of the motor in the vehicle has nothing to do with it. It's the compression ratio in that motor that dictates the fuel you use, because the lower the octane, the faster the burn. Is that the way you want to describe it? The sooner the burn, the quicker the ignite point. I'm going to use all the wrong terms because I'm not a chemist or in petrochemicals or whatever you want to say, but it is when it pops. So the higher octane doesn't hit as hard. I don't know how I got on the subject. But we just did our gas section. So
different service intervals between different motorcycles.
Oh yeah,
from
back to our actual
Harley
topic.
to other brands.
Yeah, that is important because I have heard that. A few different ones, they use some weird ones. I guess maybe they're going metric, so they're doing like 5K, 10K, 15K, and maybe that's what it is, and we're doing miles, so the intervals are a little off. What do you got to say, voice?
It also depends on the oil, too.
Oh, that's true.
If you're doing conventional
the synthetic
versus
gets you more life, and we do all synthetic unless requested otherwise, so it lasts.
We had a customer come in that was all upset because they were giving him the Jiffy Lube every 3,000 miles, and we're like, what are you running?
Do that here. Your owner's manual is important, and if it's giving you that information, it's going to tell you, and it could actually save you some. Because if you're doing the 3,000 mile Jiffy Lube change, you don't necessarily need to do that on a Harley unless you're running conventional oil. So,
that's just a very open-ended question. I mean, if you can pinpoint
no
some of your questions about. I mean, what do you want to know about your new Harley?
Yeah, well, it's a tough one because I had a person through the building today, first time Harley owner, first time rider, and it was almost, let's go look at some other bikes or pull up online the things you've seen, because I think everybody gets that kind of idea of what they want it to be, and that's the good thing with the Harley is you can turn it into freaking anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So they see that and they go, yeah, it was that, because if you're new to Harley, you may not know what that is, what that part's called, what that genre of build is or whatever. It's really interesting to us, and we want to help with that. And to see someone new to it get excited about things we've known about for a long time.
What I love about Harleys is that I think they are by far the most Frankenstein motorcycles out there.
Yeah.
Between P&A parts or aftermarket parts, you can make your bike look the way you want that Harley to look versus some other brands.
I mean, that's what people have been doing
For
literally
years.
forever.
And
Chopper came from.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
But from
chopping
a tech's
everything off.
perspective, this is okay. I'll put my tech hat back on for a quick second. From my perspective, what I want them to know is you get what you pay for. So I
really
will
do.
say that when you're modifying and setting up your bike the way you want, you will find some incredibly inexpensive items out there online.
For a reason.
You get what you pay for. So if you like changing them out a lot, if you like them to look nice until the first time you use them, if you like them to fit, fine, you're saving a little money. I'm a bigger fan of fit and finish and quality and endurance, so you get what you pay for. And also, I'll go for some economy stuff, some less expensive stuff, if I know it's not a critical piece.
Right.
That's a big one on me.
Yeah, that's
I
a big
don't
one on me.
skimp on safety, on important parts, on powertrain part. I'm going full
even
on.
with some of my older bikes, I try to find OEM
Yeah.
stock Harley parts.
Yeah.
Or a
They
part
hold up,
that
man.
Harley came out
The
with.
chrome
Just-
is just thicker.
Oh yeah,
So it
it
just
is.
lasts.
Yeah.
I knew a powder coater who would sandblast chrome, and the lesser expensive aftermarket stuff, the chrome would come off and it turned to dust.
Really?
Whereas the Harley stuff, what is he powder blast or sandblasting it, it would peel back.
Oh wow.
Because it was just that much
Well,
thicker.
that's important.
It's-
I mean, that's longevity.
Yes.
That's what it's all about. So, great questions. Thank you so much for those. We want to, it gets us thinking about that stuff too. We like, interacting with the folks out there that ride these bikes and want to know about these bikes so we can talk about it. I don't know if we've got a whole lot of time left here, but we actually had
I
a
got
topic
one
this
more
evening.
thing. From a text perspective
Oh, here
and
we
a
go.
customer perspective, buy an extended service plan. It will probably save you money in the long run, and buy tire and wheel. And I'm not saying that because I work in a dealership. I buy it. I'm the mechanic, and I still buy an extended service.
Because no matter how much maintenance you do, it does not save you from the nail on the road.
$300 tire is still a $300 tire.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. That's a really good one.
I
Man,
didn't mean to
see?
throw it into the. I'm not
No,
trying to do a
that's
sales
I like
pitch,
that.
but that's
Yeah.
$50 is $50.
Yeah,
somebody's
man.
looking
Heck
to buy.
yeah.
That's big one for me.
So if you don't know what the extended service plan or the tire and wheel plan is, come on in and talk to us about it. We'll let you know what that is too. That's a good one.
It looked like you had one last thing to say, Phil. Was I wrong?
No, I'm
Okay.
good.
Phil is all spoken out. I guess he
All-spoken
said
out.
everything
I
he
thought
could
he was
possibly
leaning.
say.
I was, but
Well, I think you guys covered that pretty well. We actually have a subject this evening. I don't know if there's a whole lot of time to discuss it, but we'll throw it in for a quick second. We're going to talk a little bit about our Harley-Davidson performance stage kits. Everybody talks stage. It's been around for years. That terminology has always been there. They've kind of whittled it down into things. We're going to talk Milwaukee 8s for a quick second. Stage 1, Stage 2, Stage 3, Stage 4. Harley's done a really nice job of packaging those up into easy to swallow bites for what you want to do. We've always got something going on with the stage kits, especially this time of year, the holiday time. We have something going on with this. The stage 1, when you say, I want a stage 1, or that bike's got a stage 1, I'm looking at a bike at stage 1. When they're talking stage 1, they're talking air cleaner,
And
exhaust. Whether it's a set of slip-ons, high flow air cleaner, and then some sort of remapping if you're fuel injected, or
mapping,
some
yeah.
sort of tuning,
Jetting
dyno jet tuning
carburetor.
with your carburetors, because you got to get the mix right. I know there'll still be talk about you don't need to do that. Well, you'd be surprised. It's still a good idea to get the mix right.
It gets
for that
real
motorcycle.
noisy if you do not get the mix right.
You can get some popping and snapping, and I don't want to run. And
Diesel
there's
pop.
all kinds of things that make it not fun. And there's quite a few tuning products out there. The Harley one doesn't do any. If you're using the Harley Street Tuner program out there on your warranty bike, you still got your warranty, so that's a plus with that. So the stage 1. And I always tell people this when they come in because they think they've got to go through them in order. No.
Definitely not.
The stage 1 is the bare minimum. That's the one you're going to put on anything no matter what to complement the next stages.
And just get you that little bit of noise out of the exhaust
Yep.
that you're looking for, that you want it to sound like a Harley.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then the stage 2 is again, we're just talking Milwaukee 8s here, so don't blast me about, well, my Evo. No, I know, but we're just talking Milwaukee 8s New World. Stage 2 is the cam change. Got a couple options on that from Harley. Stage 3 is a cam change along with a big bore kit. So, for instance, if you're currently riding a 114, you go to stage 3, it takes you to a 122. So it's a displacement change. And then stage 4 is the big nasty, which you cam, big bore, also the heads,
header,
also the throttle
new
body,
heads.
also the injectors. It's the monster. But you can skip from one right to any one of the stages. So we like to talk to folks about what's your end goal with the machine. Yes, we can go through stages in order, but you end up spending a lot more in labor and in buying duplicate parts. We don't want that. So I've often talked to folks, I'm sure you guys have too, about just getting into the level you want and let's get you there as economically quickly as we can.
Exactly.
And how you're going to ride the bike. How you're going to use the
that's
bike.
a big deal.
Has a big deal on which stage you go with.
If you're an everyday rider, I suggest doing more of a stage 2.
I'm a stage 2 guy because I'm
Yeah.
not Mr.
On the Milwaukees,
I gotta
it makes
kill
ton of
It
power. It,
makes ton
feels
of
great.
power. The torque is there, and the longevity. Because when you
Yes.
start getting into these bigger stages, your longevity goes away
Your
because of
maintenance
the way
requirements
you,
Yeah,
go up.
they're making
because of the way
heat.
you
Yeah,
ride.
making a lot of heat.
They've got to dissipate the heat, and it's harder on the bigger performance motors. So they're great if you're riding them that way, but if you're stuck in stop and go traffic every day on your commute, some of those big motors they're
don't
not
like
liking
that
that,
heat.
So
But they're also fun.
they're very
and-
fun. Yeah.
They're super fun. They're
Yes. So
get you in trouble fun.
yeah, and sometimes that's why you
That's
have
what's
multiple
required.
bikes.
That's why you have multiple
you
bikes.
have multiple
Yep.
bikes. That's what you want to do. You have your everyday rider, you have your hot rod rider. That's a good way to do it. That would be my recommendation.
No, that is the way I do it.
As far as the tuning, we talked about the Harley product, the Street Tuner. They have legal maps for all of the Harley stages, but you can't really deviate from Harley land in that. It's real common. People want
Are
to
those
use.
50 state? Are they?
Yeah, they're
Californians
50.
can do
Oh, yeah.
those?
So
Okay.
if you buy it here and move there, it's still legal so long as the exhaust requirements are really important when you get to those states like California that have that or they have the emission testing. where, catalytic converters are essential in those.
Have to be in there.
They're EPA, they have to be in there. So all of the Harley mapping is designed for that. But you need that tuning, especially. So think about it this way: the more things you're doing internally to that motor, the more important that tuning becomes, because you get farther and farther away from the proper air fuel mix, the proper spark tables. Whatever your component might be, you've got to have those configured correctly to make the bike run. Yes, they have O2 sensors. Yes, that will help dial some of that in. There are also the wideband systems, which are even a broader range of tuning on the bike all the time, but it has its limitations. It doesn't change timing. So you need to tune when you're doing those cam changes and those performance builds to get your bike running. That's why you come in here and talk to us. Come in and talk to the parts guys here. Go over the systems here. We may even have some of those bikes floating around in our used fleet. Some of the folks that work here have these kits on them, so you can see them, feel them, hear them in person, and get an idea of what they are. It's a fun way to modify your existing bike. If you've got one, you're like, man, I've been riding this a year or two. I'm looking for something else. I want another edge on it. We can do that to your existing bike, so you can have that experience.
And then it's like having a new bike in your.
It really is.
Yeah.
Start
It's already
Especially
customized your way, everything else. Now you get
especially when you go stage 2 up.
Yeah.
You'll feel that
you'll
power.
feel the difference.
Especially in the Milwaukee 8s.
Yeah, if you haven't ridden a Milwaukee 8, I still highly recommend you come in. We do have a rental program here. You can actually get on them and take them out. Rent one for the weekend and go try it.
If you see the demo days truck come through.
Oh yeah, anything like that.
We do that once or twice a year.
They've been out for a while now. By now, surely you motorcycles have ridden the Milwaukee 8. If you haven't, though, come on in and check it out. Take it for a ride. Sales would love to help you out and get you riding
Pan
one.
Am.
They're fun bikes. That's the bottom line. So we love riding. We love riding Harleys. We want to discuss this with you. Please keep your questions coming in. It doesn't have to be just about Harleys either. We can take a swing at anything you want. Doesn't mean we know what we're talking about, but we'll give it a shot. I want to thank you all for giving us time to watch us again. Please keep your comments coming in. The guys really appreciate it. We're having a lot of fun doing this. We want to keep it up, and the only way we're going to do that is with your support. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks.